How to animate a model with Three.js and React Fiber. Hi, welcome to this new React Fiber tutorial. In today's video we are going to see how to animate a model. I will explain to you where you can find models, where you can find animations. I will also describe the process I follow to make this model available to you. But this is not a Blender tutorial. Don't worry, I will provide the files to you so you can practice and go further. Project setup. Let's start by creating our project. As in the previous tutorial, I will be using Vite, so we used yarn create Vite. We name our project R3F Animations tutorial. We use React and JavaScript. Once it's done, I will open the folder. Let's add the default libraries we'll be using during this project. The first one we want is Three.js. So we need 3, React 3 Fiber, and React 3 Drei. If you don't know what Drei is, maybe watch my previous video where I explain what it is and how you can get the best of it. But to make it short, it's useful helpers to create your React 3 Fiber scenes. Okay, so now Three.js is set up. Let's start our project. We have the sample from Vite and React, but we don't want this, so let's clean it a little bit before starting. Inside the main it's okay, but we won't need the index.css, so we can't just delete our main. We won't import it. Our app, we won't need the app CSS, the logo, or the use state. We clean just everything. And we'll delete app.css. We'll import a canvas to make React 3 Fiber work. So the import should be visible here. And we will create a component where we can put our logic inside. So a new folder, components. Or maybe I'm in too small, sorry, I will zoom a little bit. Okay. And experience. Const experience. We'll do a sample scene. So we just display a mesh with a box buffer geometry for a cube and mesh normal material. We'll export it. Perfect. Now we should be able to use it. Experience. And let's see. We have an error because I made a typing mistake, I guess. Yes. Should be better. And we have here our cube, but it's the wrong sizing. But I don't want to write CSS today. We will be using Mantine Library. So let's see what is Mantine. A fully featured React components library. Let's go to get started. And we will just add the bare minimum. So let's stop it. Install it. While it's installing, we won't waste time. We'll add the Mantine provider inside the main. It's installed, so it should have the auto import. It doesn't. So let's reopen our file. What? Let's just copy it because I made it too soon. It should be fine. Let's restart. Let's see if we have error or if it's okay. Okay, it's working. So let's add default style. By the way, I will explain later what is Mantine and why we use it. I can style using global styles. So I just need to add a theme, global style is a function, and I can define the style here. Okay, so we have a theme, and inside we have an object which is called global styles, which take a function with the theme, but we won't use it. Let's make it optional. And it returns an object. And inside I can put the style we want. So for the body, okay, just add the parenthesis. I put a width of 100 viewport width and height, viewport height. Okay. And why isn't it taking the whole height? It's not because of the body, but of the main div, which is called root. So what we can do is add root, and we'll make it 100% because we want it to be relative to our body. Even if it's not so important, we won't touch it. Okay, and now we have our cube, but we can't see it's a cube because there is no camera, there's nothing. So let's add orbit controls from Drei. And now we have a cube loaded. Three.js is set up. Let's display our model. Display our model. So let me explain to you how I find a model. I could build it using Blender, but it will take me a lot of time, and the result, because I'm still a beginner of Blender, wouldn't be so good. So I remembered I had purchased a lot of packs on Unity Asset Store. So I decided to download a pack and get the FBX model to be able to import it into Blender. You can also find models on Sketchfab, which is the go-to place to buy 3D models. I needed to do some rework to positionate it correctly and also to replace the texture with materials. And once it was done, I could find animations. To get some animations, I went to Mixamo, which is a free library that provides useful animations for games or whatever experience you have. I could import my model into it, have a lot of fun because it's always funny to animate a model. Then I download the file, I merge them into Blender so I could export a final file, which is the one you will be using. And this file contains all the animations in one single file. Let's add the model to our folder. So in public, add a folder named models, and I copy paste my GLTF file. Now, because we want control over the model, we will use GLTF JSX to convert it into a JS file. So it's public models woman.gltf. Once it's done, we have woman.js. I will change a few things to make it more conventional to the way I work, but it's optional. So const woman, because I want to name it, equals to props. Okay. And export default woman. Okay. Now let's move it into our components zone. And the path will be wrong because it's models/woman. And here it's the preload. So it's loading before we try to display it. But we try to display it directly. So it's not a big importance here, but in general it can be. And here it's the same. Okay, and you can see I also have used animations which is where we will have our animations later. Perfect. Now let's try to display it. We'll replace our mesh with our woman component. So what do we have? We have our model, but it's totally black. And it's normal because we didn't put any single light. As I am not an artist, I will go to the examples, and I know this one. To find a go-to lighting, I usually use examples from React Fiber. So what do they have? An ambient light, a directional light, their model, and a plane below which show the shadows. So let's copy it. They have the lights. They have the model. Okay, we already have it. We have the floor. And it should be way better. Okay, but you can see that we are very far. So maybe we can copy their canvas settings for the camera position and field of view. So it's in our app. If we reload, it's way better, but we are wrongly positioned. So let's try to do like them, to put our woman into a group with a -1 y-axis. And it's perfect, but we still can't see shadows, and it's normal. What we need to do is to enable shadows on the canvas. And we need to define who casts shadows, so it's our skinned mesh. It's a long process because we have a lot of skin mesh, which is the separation for every material, because I made one material per color. What we can do is to trick it and use skin mesh and replace it with cast shadow. So let's go to the next and do it. Okay, so now we reload and we can have the shadow of our model. Now it's time to animate. Animations. So how do we animate our model? You can see here we have actions from use animations. We have another thing we can get, which is called names. If we console log it, let's see what is the result in our console. You can see we have all our animation. It was a surprise, but now you know what we have. We have guitar playing, idle, running, salsa dancing, and T-pose. T-pose is the current one. So how do we play an animation? It's very, very easy using React Fiber. So let's do a use effect to trigger our animation when the component is loaded. We won't define anything yet, but later, yes. Actions, it takes the name of the animation. So names at the first index, which is 0, dot reset, dot fade in, and we define the duration. Let's make it a half a second, dot play. Okay, so now we have our woman playing guitar, which looks very cool. Okay, so now let's create our UI to be able to switch animations. Like the last time, we can create contexts. And we will create a hook named character animations.jsx. Const character animations context equals to create context. Const character animations provider equals to, we'll need some props later. We will return a character animation context.provider with some value inside. Let's put an empty object for the moment. And the children, which come from the props. So we wrap our content, our children. Perfect. Yes, we need to export it, and we will create a hook to use easily our context. Export const use character animations equals to return use context from our context, which is this one. Perfect. So this is just the template for a context. You can refer to React documentation if you need more info about it. We will need a state to store the animation we are currently playing. We will use the index. So animation index and set animation index. And by default, we will start with the first index, which is 0. And to be able to display our animations on our UI, we will need to store all the animations names that come from the GLTF file. So let's have an animations, which will be the array of name. Set animation equal to use state and an empty array for the moment. Let's export everything. Animations, set animations. Perfect. Now our hook is completely ready normally, so we can put it on the side. Let's go to our woman. Let's have access to our set animations from use character animation. And when we have our animations, let's set animations to names because it's our animations. Perfect. It avoids to be triggered at every render. Now let's prepare our UI. So let's create a component named interface. Const interface equals to a component. Hello, we'll create a basic one for the moment. And let's add it next to the canvas because we can't put it inside, which is only for Three.js components. Okay, so now we have a mistake is because I didn't use the auto import. Let's reload and we have an error in woman. Set animations is not a function. So character animations, set animations from, oh, I forgot to wrap our application inside our provider. So it's character animations provider. And now we have it. And somewhere, whoa, somewhere we have our hello. Okay, it's here, but it's not a big issue. We will fix it. Okay, so I promised to you to explain why we are using Mantine instead of pure CSS. It's to go faster and have ready-to-use components. So let's have a look of what they provide. If we go to Mantine hooks, no, not hooks, to Mantine core, you can have all the components. So here it's called app shell. You can have container, well, it's a library of components. You have button, etc. What we will be using is called affix, I guess. It's in overlay, affix, I don't know how to pronounce it. And what it does, it puts an element in a fixed position. So here it is, the scroll to top button. So let's use it. Let's go to our interface and wrap everything here inside our affix. I think the position is cool, maybe 50 instead of 20. And now let's have a look. Whoa, I never want to auto import thing. Okay, I have an issue with Mantine and auto completion. I will reload my window. Okay. Okay, and now it works. Let's save. You can see we have hello here on the bottom right. What we want to display here are the different animations. Where do we get them from? It's from use character animations. Why there is no auto completion? We have set animations. We have animations directly. We will loop through our animations with map. For every animation, we will render a button, which comes from Mantine too. And we have the animation name directly because it's an array of string. We'll also need a key for React optimization, and we can just use the name as well. Let's see what we have so far. We have all the name of the animations, but they are close one to another. With Mantine, we can use what is called a stack here, and it will put the element one to another. Let's wrap our button into a stack component. Perfect, and now we have our different animations. Let's display which one is currently playing. So we will also require the index. And to customize the look of our button, there's something called variant. If index equals to current, what is the name in our hook? It's animation index. So if it equals animation index, let's get it from here. Then we will show the variant field. And if it's not the case, we will show the light version of the button. And you can see we are in guitar playing mode and the color is correct. Now let's add the on click. Once we click set animation index to index. And we also need to have it here. So now we can change animation, but you can see nothing is happening because we didn't code it in our woman model. Let's go to our component. Let's get the animation index. And it's not as easy as it looks. Here we can say we play the animation index. And to be triggered again, we need to hook it on animation index. But let's look what we have. If we say guitar playing and idle, she's doing both at the same time. And if we add another one, she's trying to do everything at the same time, which is not what we are looking for. So what we will do is we will return when our animation index change, it will call this function. So we'll return a function that will stop the current animation before switching to the new one. So actions name from animation index, and we'll just do fade out and the same duration. Let's reload because we were in a bad state. And now we can switch between different animation and it works smoothly. Of course, you can go further. If you combine the previous tutorial to this one, you can decide to change the color, the color of her hair, of her shirt, pants, etc. I recommend you to use Mantine for this because they have color input components, or even there's something else, color swatch. Instead of using my bad color, maybe use this swatch and it's ready to use. You just have to bind the on-click event and have beautiful colors. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this React 3 Fiber tutorial. Please hit the like button if this video helped you. It could help other people. If it's not already the case, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to be notified when there are new tutorials. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.